What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Growing Up Hip Hop Season 6, Episode 27. So, we opened up the episode with getting some explanation on what happened with Bree. At the end of last episode, we saw that her house had been busted down by the police and she had been arrested. Well, come to find out, someone has swatted her house. If you guys don't know what swatting is when someone calls the police and says that there's some sort of extreme, I don't want to give anybody an idea, so some sort of an extreme situation going on at your home, which will require the SWAT team to respond. We've seen this happen with a lot of gamers and online thug type situation where they SWAT your address. The police are walking in hot because they've been told that there's an extreme situation at that home. Now, Brianna said that someone swatted her, someone who she, I guess was friends with, swatted her because they bought a car together. The car was in the girl's name, but Bree was making the payments because she was helping the girl build her credit, and she wanted a car that was more expensive than her business credit would allow. And so they were doing each other this favor, but I guess somewhere along the lines, her and the girl fell out. The girl wanted her car, and so she basically, like Bree said, she legally stole it because it's in her name, so it's her car. I guess the situation escalated and the girl swatted Bree's house. She was let go the next day, but unfortunately, in the meantime and in between time, this happened in front of her son. It traumatized her and it traumatized her son. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just get this out the way. Even though this was probably the most compelling storyline of this episode, I'm going to just go ahead and finish telling it. This is probably the most vulnerable and raw we've seen Bree since the first season she was on the show, where she had the boyfriend who was abusive and she got into an altercation with and had to go to the hospital. At the end of this episode, we see her talking to Sequoia's mom, and they know each other through a mutual friend, and she really absolutely breaks down, and she opens up to her, and she talks about how, her home was her safe space, but it's not anymore. She talks about how she's afraid to even leave to take her son to school. She said that the next day after she got home from being, locked up, the doorbell rang and her son jumped. And she said, hell, I jumped too. She talked about the fact that she was homeless for many years and how she was panhandling and how she slept from drug dealer's couch to drug dealer's couch just to have some place to live. And in the midst of it, she had a whole breakdown, a whole nervous, anxiety attack. I'm sorry. And she was, she almost went to another place, and she tried to reach out to Bree and try to comfort her, and Bree was like, don't touch me, don't touch me. She said, my parents tried to pretend like that never happened, but I remember, I know what happened. And Bree has talked before about her childhood and things she went through, and she's talked before about how her parents have a selective memory about her childhood and what the things that she went through. So this isn't the first time, but it was really, really raw. And she, at the end, you could tell they cut the cameras and gave her time to get herself together, because she was, it was bad. Like, she was hyperventilating and everything. But she thanked her and said, I appreciate you being here and allowing me to be vulnerable, because I'm not vulnerable with a lot of people. I don't let my guard down with a lot of people. And I thank you for that. I know you tried to reach out and touch me, but, I just wasn't in a place where I could have somebody touching me. And she said, I understand, like, childhood trauma is a bitch, and you just never know what it's going to be and what it's going to look like, So that was basically that. And like I said, that was probably the most compelling part of this episode, but it was just really deep. And, on one hand, I don't want to say it was good to see her vulnerable, but it was good to see that side of her, that I guess she could be vulnerable, right? So we see Boogie and Savannah talking about what happened to Bree, and JoJo calls and invites them to an event that he's having with one of his artists. He's inviting them to sort of like a premiere party for her video, and he's inviting the crew to come through. And again, Boogie, they talk about what happened with Bree, and he was like, listen, me and Bree ain't in the best place, but of course I wouldn't wish that on her. I wouldn't wish anything like that. So we see we know where they left off last season. It wasn't in a good space. Um, so then we see Lil Fizz. I mean, Lil Fizz. We see that he was invited to perform at an outdoor concert, like a festival type situation. And he said, this is the first time that I've been on stage since prior to, the panty, and then I got into my own little, situation. We see that he's talking to Lazy Bone. They're out, all the guys are together playing cards and all that good stuff. And they're talking about it. And he's talking to Lazy Bone about making these mistakes and doing better and getting himself back on track. And I guess Lazy Bone is the de facto Iyanla Vanzant of this season, because every episode we see him in, he's just telling them to do better. That's it. Lazy Bone, I know you got like 10 kids. You can't get one of them on the show? Anyway. So we see Fizz perform at, well, we don't actually see the performance, but we see him, backstage, and he got a girlfriend. Who knew he had a whole girlfriend? Every time we see him, he with a bunch of different women. Shoot, a couple of episodes ago, he had scrippers down to the house. We have never seen this woman that is his girlfriend. Is she new? Does he just keep her off camera? I don't know, but whatever. But we saw him perform, and that's great. Good for you. Yada yada yada. Happy, happy, happy. So then we see Sean and Tahira talking about the wedding, and basically Sean is letting Tahira know, listen, you are letting Tyran come to the wedding even though he's not vaccinated, even though we told everybody else that this is an event and you have to be vaccinated, and people on my side of the family got vaccinated even though they didn't want to get vaccinated, just so they could come to the event. And I mean, he was like, you let Tyran do whatever he wants to do, so it is what it is, but you're going to be the one to have to tell the rest of the family that there's going to be people that are unvaccinated there. And honestly, TT, I feel like that's not right. I feel like that's not fair. If this is an event, then unfortunately he's gonna have to deal with it. I know he's your cousin and you love him dearly, but it's a decision that he made. And I mean, I think I already said this. I've had family members that have not been invited to family events because they're not vaccinated. It is what it is. Or at least, at the very least, let me know. But you do that at the beginning before other people, do that before other people get vaccinated, because now what you've done is eliminated other people's choice. Well, I mean, they still had a choice, but you put them in a situation where they got a vaccination that they didn't want to go to, but because they love y'all so much and they wanted to see y'all's wedding, they did it. But you're allowing Tyran to do it, and that's not fair. And Sean, I feel like that's what Sean is saying. He ain't putting his foot down probably like he should, but that's what he's saying. Anyway, that's them. So then we get to JoJo's event. Boogie's there. He don't have his little boo thing with him. He said she at work. Eric is there with his wife. And of course, everybody keeps asking about where's Tanise? Where's Tanise? Where's Tanise? Because Tanise didn't come to the salsa, right? So everybody is like, where's Tanise? Where's Tanise? And JoJo's like, she coming. She coming. She coming. So Bree actually shows up. And Boogie and Bree pull to the side. And they actually have a conversation where I don't really think there was no resolve there. I mean, Bree was like, the last time we talked, you were trying to tell me I had a drinking problem. And he was like, I wasn't saying you had a drinking problem. I was just telling you to slow down with the drinking. And she was like, well, I don't have a drinking problem. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't really need, you to tell me that I have a drinking problem. And his way of, I guess, proving to her that she didn't have a drinking problem was for him to take a drink. But we know you got a drinking problem. And he admitted that he's no longer sober. He said, I've had drinks from time to time, but I have it all under control, and I'm not, I'm not, doing it excessively, and I'm fine. Yeah, famous last words. So you had a drink to prove to her that she didn't need a drink? Confused. Then Savannah had a conversation with Lil Fizz, and I mean, have I been calling that man Lil Fizz this whole episode? Not Lil Fizz like from the B2K Lil Fizz. Y'all know that's not what that man's name is. Lil Twist. I'm sorry. His name is not Fizz, it's Twist. Please don't put it in the comments. I've already corrected myself. Thank you. So, Lil Twist is having a conversation with Savannah, and he's basically letting her know, listen, you ruined my party and you owe me an apology. And y'all know she ain't apologizing, nor did she acknowledge that she ruined his party. She was like, I didn't do anything. I didn't mess up your party. I didn't have anything to do with it. But of course, you did, and you owe her an apology, and you owe him an apology, but you ain't gonna give one. I will give Creed that much credit. She at least did apologize to him. But y'all know Savannah ain't gonna apologize. Now, Tanise ends up showing up to the event. And she looks good. Everybody's complimenting her on dropping the baby weight and everything. But you can tell that the two of them still aren't in the best place, and both of them in their confessionals are talking about they don't like being in this space. It's a weird space. They really need to figure it out and work it out, because they definitely don't want to head in the direction of, divorce. Then Lil E goes to visit Egypt and Sam down to Vegas. He said he was in Vegas doing some business, and he went to go visit them, and he went to talk to them about the wedding again. And Egypt said that she's been reaching out to TT, but TT isn't really reaching back out to her, that it hasn't really been a successful, endeavor. And she said she never imagined that they wouldn't be there for each other, they wouldn't be at each other's wedding, and that they wouldn't be in each other's life. She said that she really did reach out, but TT just not ready, I guess, and that she just never thought this would be what it was for her family. And again, I have to say, like, I can't, you can't tell somebody how long to be mad. You can't tell somebody how long to be mad and how to feel about it. But I will say this. Y'all are acting like what y'all did was equal. Like, y'all, from where I sit, yes, Tahira didn't like Sam, and yes, Tahira did some stuff to try to break you and Sam up. She did. But for you to then act like she was trying to get with Sam and trying to seduce Sam, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess both of y'all got bullets in that gun, but I don't know. Anyway, they just ain't in a good space. They said they do have their wedding, their marriage license, and they have a year to use it. But of course, Sam doesn't really want to do anything until he knows what his legal situation is going to be, because he doesn't want to hamper her. He doesn't want them to get married and then him go to jail, because he doesn't want her to feel obligated if and when they, that happens. And, I can respect Sam for that. I absolutely can respect Sam for that. But we know that they have gotten married. We saw the pictures online that they did get married. Looks like they went to like a Justice of the Peace ceremony. Lazy Bone was there, I guess, giving his best Iyanla Vanzant speech before the wedding. And they did film it for, I don't know if it was later on this season or for next season of Growing Up Hip Hop, but the cameras were there. So we're going to see what happened, and we're going to see how it went down. Anyway, that was pretty much the episode, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.